Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here, and we just unboxed the brand new Pixel 10 Pro and Pixel 10 Pro XL from Google, but Google also sent their Pixel 10, the regular one, which has the same chip, that Tensor G5 chip, but there are some differences, some sacrifices compared to the Pro models. However, the Pixel 10 has the new Pixel Snap, so you can use magnetic accessories on the back of the phone without having to use a case. Pretty excited about that. Anyways, let's dive into it. We're gonna take a quick look what comes in the box, and then of course get some hands-on with the Pixel 10, put it up next to the Pro models as well. Let's get started. Here's the new Google Pixel 10 and our two cases that work with Pixel Snap. We'll test that out in a bit. I'm glad Google sent over the indigo color. Sliding this box out, let's see what we get inside. First of all, we do have a quick little booklet, just getting started guide, our phone, and a USB Type-C to USB Type-C cable for charging. Flipping our phone over, it lets you know that you do not need a physical SIM anymore. You can activate an eSIM during phone setup or after the phone setup as well. Ripping the paper there. Wow, that indigo is such a good looking color. More glossy as opposed to the matte back on the Pro models. The Pro gets more glossy, you can tell right there. You see how much more reflective that light is. However, I will say the sides are more reflective on the Pro, and you've got the matte sides on the regular. So there's a difference in design. Now, I'm going to turn our Pixel 10 on for the first time while it boots up. Let's take a closer look at this hardware. Down at the bottom, we've got our speakers, microphone, a USB Type-C port for charging. Moving along on the right side, volume rockers below the power button, a little bit different than some other manufacturers. You've also got your camera bar cut out, so make note there is a camera bump. It doesn't wobble around though because it's equal on all sides. Up at the top, you've got a microphone, and on the left side, absolutely nothing but your antennas. A quick close-up of that indigo color with the Google logo in the center and our camera system on the back. You do get a triple camera setup with a 48 megapixel wide-angle lens, a 13 megapixel ultra-wide-angle lens, and a 10.8 megapixel telephoto lens, up to 5 times optical zoom. Now this is one area where the Pro gets a boost. You do still have a triple camera setup, however, you get higher megapixels, a higher quality main lens, ultra-wide lens, and telephoto lens. So all three lenses are going to be better quality. You're probably gonna see some better auto-focusing as well overall, but it's still nice to get a triple camera setup on the base model as opposed to a dual camera. Anyways, I'm gonna run through the startup process and talk about anything that's noteworthy. For reference, I went through the setup process with my Pixel 10 Pro XL with a Verizon eSIM, and it automatically asked if I wanted to transfer it with the exact same phone number, etc. Setting up the in-display fingerprint scanner, just lift and set our finger on down. The haptics feel really good, honestly. Even with the base model, they feel honestly the same as the XL version, or I'm sorry, the Pro model. So that's actually nice to see that it doesn't seem like they sacrificed. Obviously, this is my only test so far, but it seems to feel really nice. You can also set up Face Unlock in addition to the fingerprint if you'd like to. Of course, you get Google's Gemini as your personal AI assistant on this device. Also, the new Magic Queue can find information from Gmail and have it across maybe your messaging app and more. It will pull that data between your contacts, screenshots. Speaking of, you still have your screenshots app to pull contextual data out of those screenshots, and call assist. This is honestly one of the most underrated features on Pixel devices, is being able to just assist with those spam calls, because you get at least one a day. Extra things I'd recommend turning on: instant translations, that's great, but identifying music around you with their now playing, that's been around for a long time. Highly recommend turning that on. It's great for even just recall of songs that you don't remember what you listened to, but you knew you liked it. Auto adjust settings to the environment has been interesting on the Pro from my testing with adaptive vibration and adaptive sound. It seems to work. I haven't actually had an issue where I miss calls or notifications or it vibrates too soft or anything like that. So to me, it seems to be working. And of course, always on display, something I always turn on all of my phones. All right, we're all set up and ready to go. I want to point out, after feeling just some extra vibrations, it's not quite as premium as the Pro models. It still does feel very good. I do really like this wallpaper out of the box. I didn't see that on the Pro model for some reason. But anyways, let's go ahead and check out the device. First of all, it does have a 120 hertz display, but the display is where a difference comes in between the Pro models. First things first, in display and touch and scrolling down, there is no setting to change the resolution. It's a 1080p display. Also, smooth display isn't checked out of the box, so you need to actually enable it if you want to take advantage of that high refresh rate. The Pixel 10 still has a really good looking 6.3 inch OLED display. I will say the bezels are just slightly thicker on the regular model. Side by side, the Pro also has a 6.3 inch display. However, the resolution is just a little bit higher than the regular. You can see there's just more contextual information within settings. You'll see storage shows just a little bit more on the Pro model. But I also want to point out you can change that on the Pro models. If you go into settings, scroll down to screen resolution, you can turn it down to 1080p if you'd like to. So when I do turn it down to 1080p, what do you know? Storage is showing just the exact same contextual information. So it does take advantage of a higher resolution and a 1 to 120 hertz refresh rate as opposed to 60 to 120 hertz on the regular Pro. Again, they both still look really good. In case you were interested, here's all three of the colors side by side. The two Pros on the outside, the indigo regular in the middle. Like I mentioned, Pixel snaps across the entire Pixel 10 lineup, including the Fold and the regular. So if you have any Qi 2 accessories, you can snap those on. There are magnets in the back. They are very strong and work very well. Speaking of, let's check out the official cases and check out the magnets. Side by side, they have a really nice, softer touch feel, but it still has some grip to it. It does cover the buttons. The buttons have a nice accent to it, flipping it on the inside. A white inside on this blue, and the same color on the one on the right, but it's very soft feel on the inside. So grabbing our Pixel 10, let's snap our case on, and there it is. Cutouts look great. Everything looks very nice, but again, I wanted to test out the magnets, see the strength of the Qi 2 with the Pixel Snap. Again, very strong. No issues there. Obviously, that wireless charging is working. And just for comparison's sake, let's throw our other case on, just the Pro model. So they do fit on both, which I think is smart by Google, just to have the same dimensions in terms of cases, make it easier on the case manufacturers if you're gonna have a phone with the exact same size. And by same size, I just mean screen size, obviously with the 6.3 inches. Interestingly enough, on the Pixel 10, you get a bigger battery than you do on the Pixel 10 Pro at 4970 milliamp hours versus 4870 milliamp hours. So we'll have to test and see which one's going to actually get better battery life. Going into the camera app and just snapping some quick pictures. Again, same processor inside the Pixel 10 as you get across the board with the Tensor G5. 5 times the optical zoom, like I had mentioned, and if you're interested, you can zoom all the way up to 20 times zoom, whereas on the Pro models, you can zoom up to 100 times. Switching over to video, I'd like to point out you can shoot in 4K, 60 frames per second on the regular, which is nice to see. No up to 8K. And of course, you get a lot of those AI features like Add Me. You do need to install a quick app, which is fine. Long exposure, action pan, portrait mode, night sight, panorama. Google's cameras do a really good job lately at taking pictures, but we do need to compare the two lenses. Again, expect the photos to be just a little bit better on the Pro. Very quick test of that in-display fingerprint scanner that we set up. It should be very quick and snappy, which it is. Ultrasonic fingerprint scanner seems to work really well. It worked well in the Pro models. It's the same one on this one. Going back into settings, you can go into Magic Queue. It's currently updating, but you can control the information it pulls if that's an issue for you. Use data from specific specific apps. You'll notice here's the apps that it's using data from out of the box, so you can turn those all off if you don't want it using any of your data. Anyways, that's everything I want to talk about for now with the Pixel 10. Again, side by side with the Pixel 10 Pro, just talking about the differences, etc. So we will put it through the ringer, test it out. Drop a comment, let me know what you think. If you think it's worth the extra money to buy the Pro models, be sure to subscribe. A lot more content coming soon. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And as always, thanks for watching.